How do I analyze entities on my website? And why would I analyze entities on my website? So entities are the things being discussed in your web page's content. These are the people, the places, the products, the ideas, the concepts, and so on. This is the stuff that your page is actually discussing. And so by analyzing entities, we can understand what this page is all about programmatically. And along with simply extracting the entities from a page, entity analysis code can also help you understand how one entity relates to another entity or how multiple pages relate to each other because of the entities that they discuss. So OpenAI and other generative AI tools are extracting the entities as part of the learning process, and they're doing that as one way to understand what the page is about and how this page relates to some other page on our website. Now, Google also uses entities to decide where pages should rank in search results and how they should index pages as well. So in this video, I want to walk through a simple way you can analyze your website's content and look at the entities contained in your web page's text. And by performing this type of analysis, you can find ways to optimize your web page's content to improve appearances in generative AI citations, as well as improve rankings and search results. Now, I am going to walk through some code to do this, but don't worry, you don't need to understand the code in detail. You don't need to even know how to write code to be able to run this, but I will show you how to do this in a way that's really simple and easy for you to be able to go in, copy and paste in your content, run the analysis, and get the results. Now, I've got this set up in Google Colab, so I can share this link with you in the comments, and you can make a copy of this file and run it yourself. So let's hop over to Google Colab and take a look at how this works. So at the top, we want to copy and paste in the text that we want to analyze. In this case, I've got text copied and pasted in from a PC Mag article. I'm not affiliated with PC Mag in any way, just a good article and uses entities in a way that's really helpful for this demonstration. So back over on the file, we can copy and paste in our text. Only thing to really keep in mind is that you want to copy and paste in the text in between the quotes. So there's 3 quotes at the beginning, there's 3 quotes at the end. And so you want to just make sure your text goes right in between those quotes. So that way the entity analysis can run and work correctly. After you've put in the text, up at the top, you want to go to Runtime and click Run All. This will run all the code in this Colab file and perform the analysis. And then you can scroll to the bottom to see the results. Wait a couple minutes for the analysis to run, and then you'll see the results output. While it's running, though, I do want to walk you through a few things going on in this file and a couple things to keep in mind about this analysis. First thing is that this analysis is performed with a tool called Spacy. So Spacy is a Python library that gives you lots of different NLP tools that you can use to analyze your website's content, including entity analysis. Now, Spacy is a really good library, and it's one that is highly regarded, but it's not the only one that's out there. So if you want to really start getting into entity analysis, I think it's useful to, yes, run Spacy, but then also run some of these other tools as well and see what entities come back from those other tools and compare them, because they are all trained in different ways and they are all looking at things slightly differently. So by looking at those different tools, you can start to see more entities come back. You can see different things about the entities, and it can be a way to get a deeper perspective on what entities are being used. That said, if you only use Spacy, that's a really good starting point, and it's going to give you lots of information to optimize your website's content. The other thing, too, to keep in mind is that while we're using Spacy to perform this entity analysis, obviously OpenAI and Google, they are not using Spacy, right? They're using their own proprietary systems to perform their own entity analysis. But Spacy is going to give us a close representation of what OpenAI and Google and other tools are looking at. And if we see problems within Spacy or we see opportunities within Spacy's analysis, well, that's going to give us some idea of how we can probably optimize for OpenAI, for Google, and other tools. Along with Spacy, we're bringing in a couple other Python libraries to help us output the data and analyze the data. Then we've got the functions that perform the actual analysis. I won't go through these functions in detail, but if you are comfortable working within Python and this is something that you want to build on, you want to add in different things to analyze, different things to look at within the entities, you can do so within these functions. I will say, if you start building on this and start adding in additional metrics or different things to look at with the entities, please let me know. I'd be really curious what enhancements you add to this script and what kinds of things you're doing to analyze your page's entities. All right, and then when we scroll to the bottom, we can see the fun part of the results, and we can see what entities came back from this analysis. And we have the results in two different ways. We have a table and we have a visual. So starting with the table will list all the entities that were found by Spacey in this text that you copied in at the top of the script. And then we see the entity types. So we can see that there's organizations, and we can see that there's people, and we can see that there's numbers and dates and so on. And you'll see different types depending on the nature of your content. And so we can look at the types and start to understand something about what the page is about. Is this page about people? Is this page about organizations or something else? And then we can look at the entities themselves to start to understand what this page is about. Okay, this page seems to be about something related to ATX or maybe micro ATX. The other column we have in this table is a frequency. So the frequency is the most simple analysis you can run on entities, and you can get way more complex than frequency analysis, but I think frequency analysis is a good place to start for a simple entity extraction. And so with frequency, we can see how often this entity is actually showing up in the text. And there are times where I've run a page through this entity analysis, and the entity that comes up as the thing being discussed the most often has nothing to do or very little to do with the core topic of the page. And that's an opportunity to then rework that page to make sure that the entities that are more related to the core topic of the page actually show up more often. And again, frequency analysis is very simple. OpenAI, Google, and other tools, they're definitely doing more things beyond frequency analysis to understand entities and how entities are used. But it's a way to start understanding the entities that are coming up in that page and look for opportunities or problems that you need to fix. Now, the last thing we have is a visual representation of all the entities that are used throughout the text. The visual can be a useful way to get a sense of where the entities are used in the text. Are the entities all discussed in one particular spot of the text? Are they more spread out? And maybe by spreading out the entities more, that makes the page more readable. Maybe it makes it easier for people to skim the page. Maybe it makes it easier for Google or OpenAI to learn from the page. So that's something to potentially experiment with. But I do like the visual analysis as a way to just get a sense of what entities are used and how they're used within the text itself. Like I said, I'll link to this Colab file in the comments so you can make a copy of this and drop in your own text and run your own analysis. If you do run your own analysis, I'd be curious to hear about the results and what you're finding. Certainly, if you add in any enhancements to this code, please do let me know. I'd be curious what you're building and what you're looking at within your website's entities. If you have any questions about working with this entity analysis or optimizing your website for generative AI or search, please let me know. You can email me at matthew@elementive.com. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it from Elementive, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.